hello, and welcome. Welcome to Shady Talk Wednesday. I am your lovely host, Miss Shade. I am here today in the building on the couch alone. Give it up for me today. Yes, ladies. So today I wanted to chit chat with the ladies and the fellas as well on some topics, some crazy, some tricky kind of topics. Um, but before I get started in that, I want to plug myself in. Listen, I want everybody to know on May 10th, this May 10th, 2025, I am having my third annual comedy Oldies But Goodies comedy show. And it's going to be located in Patterson at 181 Straight Street at the rooftop. And we're going to have a great time. This is my third year. I'm excited to do it. I also want everybody to know this year I have an amazing, funny male lineup. Last year I did all females. So I wanted to switch it up this year, being that it is Mother's Day, and I wanted to have some male comics. But I want everybody to know too, even the fellas, even though it's a pre-Mother's Day comedy show, it's not just for the moms, it's for the fellas. It's for you to bring your wives out, your girlfriends out, your boo things, bring your mom out, your sister. It's about having a good time with your family and, just celebrating the moment. And, with my comedy show, I like to do this thing that I like to bring back old school. I'm such a old school. I'm such a old school girl. I'm telling you, I love so much old schools. I love so much old school music. Not that I have anything against the music that's now out in this generation, but it's just something about that old school music that just keeps me motivated. It helps me bring more entertainment. I feel like the crowd and the age range that I have been having for the last few years have been in that middle age, older, and oldies but goodies type crowd. So listen, anyway, grab your tickets. I'm always promoting it on my Facebook page, my Instagram page. I want another pack house again. I wind up getting another space this year because the last 2 years that I had the comedy show, the venue was a beautiful place, but I kind of got overcrowded. So I said, you know what? Let me try to find a spot, prayerfully that I bring the same crowd, the same folks, the folks that came the first year, the folks that came the second year, and I'm praying that it's some new folks coming the third year, and we're all getting together and enjoying a pre-Mother's Day comedy show. I'm telling you, the male comics that I have coming in the building is amazing. I have special entertainment coming. We got 50-50. We got raffles. We got door prizes. We got gift giveaways. We have vendors that's going to be in the building as well. So listen, check it out. Go to my page, my Facebook, my Instagram page. I have the link there. It's my third annual Oldies But Goodies comedy show. And I want to see you guys in the building. So come up and guess what? I dare you. I dare y'all to get dressed from your era. It don't have to be from the 70s, but it can be from the 70s. It can be from the 50s. It could be from the 60s. It could be from the 70s. It could be from the 90s. Whatever your era is, if you want to come dress and represent your era, we are definitely going to have a prize for the best dress that comes this year and represent their era. So I'm looking so forward into having this show again. I enjoy doing comedy. I enjoy, making people laugh. I just enjoy just people getting together and just having a great time because that's just what I'm about. So as I stated, the Oldies But Goodies, Shady Keys Entertainment comedy show is coming up this May 10th, and it's a daytime event. So listen, even if you got something to do at night, you still got time to go to the nighttime. But guess what? I know at our ages, we can't do both. We can't do both. If you 40, I ain't even going to say 40. Maybe, because 40 tipping in. But if you 45 and older, listen, y'all know we can't do both. We can't do two events in one day. Okay, and thank God, we getting into this thing that we're doing things early in the daytime as well too, because I feel like early events is nice. It's kind of like you plan your day, something to do. It's a Saturday, you get your rest on Friday. Saturday, you have your clothes laid out all ready from Friday night. It's going to be nice. And also, you could bring your own BYOB. Listen, we don't want to be throwing nobody out by their shoulders, but you are able to bring your own BYOB. Um, the table, if you want a full table, 8 people could sit at a table. So if you want to bring your cups, your drinks, whatever, I will have food there provided. But if you want to go ahead and, bring what you want to bring what you want to bring. Just come on in, have a good time, and enjoy the show. Thank you guys so much for my little promo about my third year Oldies But Goodies comedy show. I'm so excited about it. But get y'all tickets. Get to the link now. In other news, I just wanted to talk. I wanted to ask a few questions or get into a few little things about friendship. Like, how close are you to your friends? How close are you to your best friends? Um, do you really trust your friends? How do you know you trust your friends? What is your limitations on trusting your friends? How safe are you with your friends? Let's talk about it. Shout out to everybody that's on my Facebook page watching right now. My mom, my aunt, my family, my uncle Reggie, my mom Deborah, my aunt Sherry. Shout out to y'all that's up on Facebook watching. I'm so excited. I know my family is going to be in the building this year for the Oldies But Goodies comedy show. I love to see my family in the building. I do it for my family, whether they know it or not. I just love to see my family coming out, having a great time with people. And that's just that. But in other news, let's get to it. So, I had seen a video that came up, and I don't know, maybe some of you guys seen it too. I believe it was on TikTok, but I think I came across it on Facebook. And I know sometimes when people do videos, sometimes it's just, an act, of course. But sometimes, most of the time, when people do act out about things, it is reality issues and situations that really go on. So one of the things that I seen in the video, in particular, was a guy taking his wife's best friend to a store. So she happened to pull up on them. I know you guys probably seen the video, or maybe you haven't, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up this topic. So he happened to be taking his wife's best friend to the store. And for whatever reason, I guess the wife pulled up on him and realized that, her friend was in the car with him, and she was stunned by seeing that. And also, he didn't mention anything to his wife. So I wanted to know, do you guys think that he was wrong? Do you think that she put I don't want to say she. Do you think the friend put her friend, which is the wife, in a bad space? Do you think that the wife is taking it too far? How long do you feel you have to have or be in a long-term, or how long do you feel you have to be in a friendship with somebody in order to be able to say that those things like that is okay? Can I get the call-in number just in case somebody wants to call in? Personally, or you could just drop it in the comments, Steve. I'm not sure. It depends. I do feel like on a respect level that anytime you are in a relationship or in a marriage, rather it's your mate or your friend, I do think that the person that you are dating should be aware, not just about your whereabouts, but just on a level of respect that unless it's some kind of surprise party. But I do feel that your mate should communicate with you and say to you, hey, babe, listen, I'm going to take, let's say your friend name is Carla. I'm going to take Carla to the food store. I just wanted you to know. And I do feel like if Carla is your best friend, I do feel like Carla should say, hey, girl, do you mind if I ask your husband, can he take me to the store? How would you feel? I don't know though, because let's just play devil advocate. I feel like, some people have relationships where they do trust their best friend. Some things is not like a worry kind of situation if those things happen. But I do believe it has to be a very, very, very close, trustworthy friendship, because I just feel like, nowadays some friends just really don't know their limits. They don't really know their limits when it comes to people's mate. Um, and husbands. So I feel like in that situation, the wife, she did go off on a husband. And then another thing that I didn't like is that the female kind of responded a little nonchalant. See, things like that to me, this is where I feel like why some people feel like, everybody is just not trustworthy. Because even as my friend or my best friend, and you're somewhere with my mate that I'm unaware about, and I happen to find you two together or see you two together, and then your answer is kind of basically like, oh, I didn't think I had to tell you. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? How do you feel about that? Do you think that um that's fair? Do you think that your friend should respond to you in such a way, basically as if, you know, they shouldn't have to really tell you anything? And how do you feel if your husband or your mate sat there and really protected your friend in that conversation, and they kind of came back with yeah, basically like, I didn't think I had to tell you anything, we just went to the store. I don't know, guys. Things like that is tricky. um I will say, for the most part, I do have a best friend, and I do trust my best friend being around my mate. I do feel like if she was in town and she happened to ask my maid to take her to like a store or something, we have been best friends over 30 years. So, of course, I wouldn't mind. But I do know, because of the type of friendship that I do have with my best friend and the type of relationship that I do have with my mate, I know she will mention it. I know that, both parties are going to mention, that they are about to run out, especially, if I'm not around. I just think that, that's just law. I just think that it's just law. I just think that nobody wants to have sloppy friendship. Nobody wants to have, friends that just feel like, even though you and them have a long-term relationship, or that, not that you don't trust them, that they should just be able to do certain things like that. I don't really think that is a good thing. And another question I wanted to ask was, can you leave your friends home alone with your mate? Ooh, that's kind of tricky. It happens. Yes, it does happen. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about leaving your friend home um, with your mate? Let's just say that, you had a friend that needed to come by or stay over, or had an emergency, and you had to go to work, and the friend is still there. How do you guys feel about that? That's kind of tricky. Um, Me personally, once again, um, it would really have to be a serious trusting. Once again, I trust my friend to be home with my mate, but I don't know how other women feel about leaving their their friends home with their mate or even family, let's just say. I know we always jacking up the friends, but can you trust family as much as you can trust a friendship? Hmm. I'm wondering, how do you guys feel about that? Call in, let me know, talk to me, leave it in the comments. Um, Tell me how you guys feel about that. What do you think? Do you think that that's appropriate of even leaving a mate home, leaving your mate home with one of your friends, or vice versa? How do you feel if your mate left their friend around you? Hmm. I don't know. Do you feel like you have to have a certain size house? Because let's just say if you had a home um and you just feel like, okay, your friend is staying in the basement area, and you have the top of the house. Does that make it does that make it better for you? Does that play it safe for you? Because I do know, sometimes, people have certain people living in their homes, with them while they're in relationships, while they're in marriages. But I do feel like you should have a certain size house to even allow some of that, unless it's just an emergency and somebody wants to come sleep on your couch for a day or two. Yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know. Things are just tricky these days. Also, I wanted to ask, um, my next question I wanted to ask: what is your limitations of kicking it with someone? For example, let's just say your friend was dating someone years ago, high school, or was dating, wind up going on some dates with someone years ago. What's your limits? How do you feel about that? Would you still talk to someone your friend used to date or your family used to date? Would you even give them your phone number? Like, if you know you had a friend or a family member that used to mess with somebody, what's your limitations? How do you guys feel about that? Are you okay with saying, "Oh, that's so long ago. They're from the old school. We just kicked it, or we did have some other type of interactions, but that was a long, long time ago." Do you feel like you need permission from your friend or your family? Do you think you should have a round table talk with them and ask them like, "Hey girl, listen, I met someone and they wind up saying that you and them used to date. How would you feel about that? How would you feel? Would you feel that, it's okay?" Um oh, Sue said never, never, never. Sue Perry said never. And I guess because Sue is married, so I guess as a man that would be very uncomfortable to leave another guy around your wife, or your wife leaving another female around you. But what if it's an emergency? Let's just say, love Jesus, Mark, Marcy. Heck no. Don't want to deal with someone else's headaches or leftovers. Yeah, I agree on that too, though. Nika said, "Hell no. When I grab my pocketbook, you grab yours too." I know that's right. I know that's right. Hell no. If she wanted to go somewhere, ask me first, and that's that. Um, yeah, I agree, Nika. I don't know. I just think these days people get a little too comfortable with what they just feel like, isn't respect. I just feel like the respect level is totally different. I just feel like some things are just common sense. I get some things we kind of skip, but I don't ever want to be in a position where a disrespectful situation have to be kind of talked about, when to me that should just be common sense of just what you shouldn't do. And I think now we're just kind of living in times where people are just chancing some things and just doing it, and then just feeling like either oh well, or they're going to kind of come up with some kind of excuse or some kind of story behind some of the things they do. And I just feel like at a certain age, even though I know sometimes the age doesn't match the mind, I just feel like we should know better. But I guess that's when you kind of know how to choose friends, or, friends, who you allow around. Because I remember the back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be a time that friends could just stop by your house, family could just stop by your house, without calling, without knowing. And I'm sure there is, some room for some of that still, that people still experience some of those things. But I do believe a lot of that stuff has cut off for some reason. Is anybody still experience just friends stopping by, family just stopping by without even saying that, they're coming by? I don't know. Do we still live in that era where people are doing that, or are we now at a place where people have to call before they actually, stop by? I don't know. Are you guys experience any of that, as far as like, you know, just you just can't show up at my door anymore? I don't know. I just think too, now we're living in a time, even though, I mean, if we want to talk about friendship, even though we talked, because we're talking about, trust issues and just, knowing boundaries basically. And, you know, are you comfortable with certain things that your friends do? And, should there be, should someone let you know what's going on when they're around your friends, or are you okay with that? Not only your friends, your family. Um, I don't know. I just feel like now we're living in a time that old friends are old friends, and now it's like you got to figure out this new friend, kind of thing. I see Sue the other day when he wrote something up about um about new friends, but it's just like it seems like the old friends are doing what some of the new friends are doing. I don't know. Is anybody experience any kind of different things that's going on from the old to the new with friends? I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Like I said, you guys, feel free to call in if you want to converse about this conversation with, tricky situations with friendships. Is it okay for your mate to just take your friend somewhere and nobody knows about it? I don't know. I say, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. And I say no. I guess it gotta depend. Also, too, you have to have great trust. I mean, great trust in your relationship. You have to really know that you're in a relationship where your mate is going to check someone that's out of order. And to me, the day that I seen that video with the wife running up to the car, seeing her husband um with her friend, to me I would have been like, you, I mean, you didn't mention it. But also too, it's like he couldn't ask her, did she mention it, because he didn't mention it. I don't know. I think that would have kind of put some bad taste in our relationship. Because I just think sometimes with people, they don't understand. Let's just say, for example, that was like an honest situation. But I just think sometimes if you're not really careful what you do, the situation could look bigger. It could turn out bigger than it really is. And I know sometimes, for example, people feel like some things is small, but some things that's small to people are really big to someone else. I think people sometimes don't really look at the whole scenario. you know, some people kind of just look at a piece of something that actually happened, and they don't understand why another person is going so far or feeling, a certain type of way about how they look at, the situation. Because to me, let's just say, with the guy, first of all, in that situation, since the wife came up on him, I feel like he owes her more respect than feel like the best friend should have communicated with her too. But I feel like as a husband or as a wife, you should be the one to pick up your phone and tell your significant other what you are about to do. I don't really care who is with. It could be with your mama, it could even be with your kids. And this don't have anything about trust. This is just common sense, to kind of just let people know, what's actually going on, and your whereabouts. Hi, Joshua, and your whereabouts. I just think it should be a respect level, because let's just say in that situation, you as my mate are basically saying to me, you know, second of all, even in front of the young lady or my friend, now you got her feeling that she can be comfortable with not saying anything to me about you and her together. If you're saying to me in front of her, like basically, like, I didn't have to tell you. And see, even stuff like that, somebody may say, like, if you're arguing with your mate and you're like, oh, well, you must be cheating on me with her, because why are you saying things like that? Now you're getting into this big argument, you're getting into this big scuffle with your mate because your mate feel like you're taking it further. But it's just like responses sometimes can make people look further or think, something further is going on. So sometimes you just really have to be careful. I always tell people, it's not what you do, it's how you do. And I just feel like your mate deserve a certain level of respect in you guys relationship. Now, as far as leaving a mate in your house, or a friend or family in your house with your mate, I don't know. I need a house. I need a house. I trust my mama. I trust my kids. I do trust my best friend. That's a good thing. That's another thing too. I guess sometimes when you don't really have a lot of friends and all of that kind of stuff, sometimes you don't really kind of, go through those things. But I'm sure, I guess also too, that depends on what kind of friendship you have. Some people have a lot of friends. Some people don't. Sometimes you don't have to worry about that, depending on your mate, and their friendships, But I just believe that everything is about sincere trust. You have to be able to trust your mate, and you have to be able to trust your friend. The other topic I had was, would you date someone? First of all, I don't want to date anyone that anybody had, my friends or my family. I don't really care how far it is. Anybody that was interested in you as my friend or my family, they cannot be interested in me later on. They just can't. It just wouldn't make sense. I don't know if some people will count years, but I just feel like anytime somebody had their eye on somebody that I know in particular, or somebody that I'm close to, I don't really care if they was even just boo boo cuckooing on the phone, for a certain amount of time. If anybody has put any kind of energy um into your friend, no, you should not be having any type of situation going on with them. To me, that's just law. And the same thing for family. Family, definitely. I just feel I definitely, come on now. I mean, come on now. I just feel like that's just law. Who would want anybody that had anything to do with their family member? I mean, to me that's just very desperate, or it's just, you don't have no respect, or you just, I don't know. But I don't know, because like I said, everybody play different, everybody think different, but I do feel like, certain scenarios like that can, kind of affect relationships. I know it has been done. I know, shoot, if even when you look up stuff, even on some of these social media platforms, of course, shoot, you got sisters that got the same baby father. Come on now. That's just crazy. And you know what? The crazy part is, what I love about our mamas and our grandmamas. The thing that I do love, I don't know if this going off a topic or if this kind of still in topic, but um to me, it's a baby mama, baby daddy thing. I do love to see where older people, let's just take for example, um, you know, God bless my father, so he's not here. But how my mom and him had such a great relationship. Like, you ever see people that, let's just say, your mom is now dating somebody else, or your dad is now dating somebody else, or your dad is still able to invite your mom to the cookout, or your mom is still able to invite your dad to the cookout. Like, to me, I enjoy stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's on a level of past maturity. I don't know sometimes if it's the years that get people, up and not worried about it. But I also believe too, in relationships, even with our parents, how, friendship matters first. I feel like anytime in a relationship, if you have a great friendship first, even if things happen to go a little sideways, the friendship is always going to stand in front of the relationship to help the relationship keep going. I'm going to say that again. The friendship in the relationship will always help the relationship keep going smoother because of the friendship. I do believe that you have to have a great friendship with your mate, because even though you're in a relationship with somebody and you get all the love and the boo boo and the cuckoo stuff, your friendship matter too, because sometimes as your mate, you need your mate to be your friend. You do. Having your mate as your friend as well is, it's just amazing. And I know, like, even with some of our parents, or just with us in this generation, how we're able to still get along with, people who we had children by. And you know I just feel like, let's just say, sometimes people didn't have a relationship, or not a relationship, didn't have a friendship. I do love the fact that even if they didn't have a friendship, there was a time and place where they were able to mature somewhere down the line, even if it wasn't, you know, in the relationship. Because sometimes relationships turn out bad, depending on the situation. But sometimes people are able to put certain things aside, especially when they have children. And for some reason, it's like, I've seen where people have built a relationship or a better friendship with that person down the line. So I always love when I see people, how everybody could be together at one time. The baby mama, the new wife, you know, and the baby father or the husband, or even like I said, when you see like the older generation, they get along so smooth. It's just like our daddies or granddaddies could still come and enjoy grandmama's cookout or mama's cookout while they new man is there. And I just think it's so dope when you see like them tagging each other hand and hugging on each other, and the females hugging on each other. And I'm telling you, because some people, I've seen it where there has been like, adults, they're now acting like, they're siblings with these people. Like, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my sis now. So I do love where in a relationship, like I was talking about as well, too, where people can, join one another later on in life or somewhere in life, that everybody is, able to, stay connected, even, when relationships are broken up, and people are able to get past that and still be able to communicate or stand aside or be in the same room with their ex mate and their new mate. I love that. I don't know. I'm just a person who just loves, I guess. I love the positivity things about love. I do believe in forgiving, being understanding to certain um situations to, avoid conflict. Um Unfortunately, everybody doesn't, feel like that. And that's a topic too, I'm going to get into, and I'm going to talk about, forgiveness and, what are some things that made you actually hold on for something for so long? Are you somebody who holds on to things that's petty? And can it be just because you're just not a person who knows how to do round table, or you're just a person who just feel like, oh, I just rather just leave it like it is and, move on? I don't know. I don't know. But we're going to dig deep into, those kind of um, conversations as well. Like I tell people all the time, Shady Talk Wednesday is a platform that I love conversing with people. I love helping people promote themselves. I love having, some real life conversations, things that is relatable that people could relate to. We always, I think we always need to hear what's real. It's good to also hear sometimes other people um giving us some of their life issues and stories, to where as though, you know we could feel like we could relate. Because sometimes I feel like people be so sheltered because they feel like some things that they deal with is like, I'm dealing with it alone. So believe it or not, even though I know some people feel like, they're shy, or they just feel like, I'm not one of those people who like to put my business out there. It's not all about putting your business out there. I just believe that some situations, not all, because, you can't really make people get out there and talk and just tell their story. But I do believe a lot of times when people are telling you their story and giving you the realness of their life, it does help people feel like, ooh, I could take a deep breath. Like, we may not have the same story, but we have a similar story where I could relate to. And I just think sometimes, like, for me, I feel like, the type of person that I am, and the way I do things, and the way, I don't mind talking about stuff. I just feel like it works for a lot of things. It works for a lot of reason. It helps with a lot of people. Rather people will admit things like that or not. Even with me just taking the time to just, let's just say, starting a podcast like I do. I tell people all the time, with me starting a podcast, listen, what I'm doing, I'm growing and I'm learning. I am not perfect. I know everything that I come up here and talk about, you know, it's not perfect. It might not sound correct. But the part that I love about me is that, and I try to encourage people, is in order for you to do something, you got to start somewhere. You can't be afraid to be okay with what's, you got to be okay with what's okay. I think a lot of people hide from not understanding that phase. I just said, you got to be okay. The best part is, when you be okay with trying to do what you're doing and stepping out faith and going out there to do things, not just with a podcast, just anything in life. I want to encourage anybody, to step out there and, make things happen. I know sometimes with life could just kind of just feel like it's much, when you are trying to get into things. And then I know it's even tougher when you already afraid to get into things, and then you got life kind of, just building up on you while you are trying to get into things. Like for me, I've experienced that a lot. I still experience, those scenarios. But I do try to take a deep breath and I say, you know what? I'm going to push forward. Like today. Today was a day I pushed forward. I don't have a guest today, but I said, you know what? My podcast is what I love. I want to be consistent. I love conversing with people. And, I'm going to come here today and I'm going to conversate. At first, I was like, I'm just going to do it on YouTube. I'm just going to do it on YouTube. But then I said, no, I'm going to live, I'm going to go live too on Facebook as well. Because once again, what I'm doing right now, I want to encourage others to whatever it is that you want to do. Even though you're doing it afraid, it's okay to do it afraid. Even though you may be doing it alone, it's okay to do it alone. These are things that I had to find out, or figure out what was going on with me, doing things alone, pushing. But the best part that I love about it is because if you love what you do, you are going to be okay once you put your foot forward and do it. If you love what you do, you are going to be okay. And one thing we as people have to learn is acceptance. We have to be okay with acceptance. We have to be okay with faults. We have to be okay with not being perfect. We have to be okay that some things is just our, we are still in our learning season. We are in that season of figuring it out. We are in those seasons of starting over, again. All of those things fall up under my umbrella with me. But what I love is I keep myself motivated because I enjoy what I do. So when you enjoy what you do and you really enjoy what you do, don't worry about the naysayers. Step up, sit in it, do it. You have to. That's the only way it's going to get done. You have to do it. You can't be afraid. You can't. And I know, like I said, life sometimes put us on a backtrack and we like, oh gosh, I was trying to do it again this week and it failed. It's okay. As long as you know that it's okay that it failed and you want to push forward again for the next time, be open to push forward for the next time. I would tell anybody, anything that you love to do, even though it's hard, because I get it. Sometimes it feels like, you're crawling, you're pulling, to make a mark about yourself, to do what you need to do. Sometimes, people don't have a team. You thinking that people see what you're doing and would just wanna, team up, but I've learned with a lot of things that I'm doing, I'm learning now to appreciate the ones who are cheering for me. I'm learning to appreciate the ones who love how I step out on faith, and or how I do things to show them like, wow, T doing it and she making it look easy. I love when I hear people say to me, "Girl, I love what you doing." Listen, it's hard, it's tiring. You got to get into some kind of structure. That's first of all. You know, you got to get into some structure. But I feel like me doing what I'm doing, and, hitting those bumps, and, taking those turns and starting all over again and figuring it out and putting myself in the fire while doing it, you can't do nothing but win. So listen, I hope today's episode was a good conversation, I guess. Like I said, I seen something on TikTok and I wanted to, talk about it. My goal is to bring not only serious stuff on my platform, because how can I be serious when I'm the comedian? That doesn't make sense. I love talking about stuff that's fun, that's funny, you know. I don't want my platform to always be about who crying. I love energetic people. I love, bringing energetic people here to talk about their stories, to tell us what they got going on in the world. Because like I said, if somebody don't give somebody a platform, or, help somebody else put themselves out there to know about it, how you gonna know? How you gonna know? So listen, if you would like to be a guest on this podcast, you can email me at Ms. with the Z, no shade but shade at gmail.com. I am open for promotions. I am open for authors, writers, comedians, um, whatever it is you're trying to get yourself out there and promote. Email me and we can discuss it all in the email. I will email you back. I want to say thank you to all my listeners, all my believers, all my followers, all my shady fans, all my shady lovers. I have so many comedy shows coming up that I'll have to go through my phone. But I just thank God that even with that situation, I'm just sitting back and I'm just getting calls. So I'm thankful for that, because I know that's all God's doing. I know God want me to spread my gift no matter which way it is, of just being an encourager, making people laugh, you know, just doing anything that I'm doing that represents Him. I'm excited about. So on that note, I am so proud of myself that I sat here for, I'm going to say 40 minutes. Y'all don't know, I made a bet on myself. I pushed myself today. I said, nope, Tawana, you're going to stay consistent with your podcast. And in order for you to do it, you gotta get out there and do it. So I am so proud of myself that I actually did what I did today. That's what I'm saying. Some people think some things are small, when to some people it's really big. So I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you guys. I hope I encouraged you on today. Listen, you can always email me too, any topics that you want me to bring on Shady Talk Wednesday podcast. I don't have to mention who it came from. You can also say anonymous, things like that. But let's keep it going. Don't forget, May 10th, I have my pre-Mother's Day comedy show going on. Check me out, Tawana L. Warner, on Facebook. I also opened a page on my Instagram called Shady Entertainment 920. I'm trying to bring my followers over there because that's where I will be posting, most of my entertainment, so people can kind of know from that page what I have going on and the things that I'm doing in case they want to, come out to any shows or keep up with any podcast episodes and whatever else is in store for me to offer. So thank you so much again for watching Shady Talk Wednesday podcast. I will see you again every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Thank you to my Facebook followers, my family, my YouTube watchers. I appreciate you all. Have a good night.